Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a reading wrap up of all the books that I read in the month of July. I did read 5 books total, with one of them being well, do we count DNFs as a read? Technically, how do you guys do that? I feel bad counting a DNF as a technical read, but I also like to keep account of what books I read in what month and what I DNF'd and whatnot. 5 books, and I DNF'd 1 book as well. So I'm going to be talking about 6 books total, and then make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I have something really exciting to talk to you guys about. Just make sure that you continue watching this video and I'll get to something fun at the very end. Okay, so the first book that I read in the month of July is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I ate this book up, y'all. Like, for real, I loved it so much. This, I would say, is like a magical realism / romance. I considered it a romance when I did my book vlog that included this book because it is definitely a romance. I love the magical realism aspect of this book. Ashley Poston just knows how to write a very cozy, magical read. There's no other way to describe the way that Ashley writes other than that. It just gives me all of the warm and fuzzies every time I pick up a book of hers. This is the second book that I've read now. The other book that I read by her is called The Dead Romantics, and I loved that book as well. I think what's really fun about this book, or what I really enjoyed whenever I read this book, was there was a character, a very small character, very side character, who is a main character in The Dead Romantics, and I just love when authors do that and kind of write stories on the same fields, interconnected stories and stuff like that. You know, this book, if you guys didn't know what it's about, it'd probably help if I told you guys, you know, the synopsis of the book and whatnot. But basically, it's about a girl named Clementine who ends up inheriting her aunt's apartment. Her aunt has passed away. They used to be very close. What she finds out as she's moved into this apartment is that sometimes when she's in that apartment, she's 7 years in the past. Yeah. Never read a book like it, and it was so good. And while she's there 7 years in the past in this apartment that she basically grew up in, she stumbles upon a man that is also 7 years in the past. I'm getting the tinglies thinking about it. So you go back and forth in timeline from her present day when she's in present time versus whenever she's 7 years in the past and her situation with this man that she meets. It is such a good story. I highly recommend reading this book if you guys are into a little bit of that magical realism and you want a good cozy romance. This one is so good. Also, I do want to do a fun book and bake with this book, so let me know if you guys would want to see that, because I want to get back into doing my book and bakes or my book and cooks, and I have some really good ideas for doing a book and bake with this book in particular. So let me know if you would want to see that as a future video, maybe this month. All in all, I gave this book a 4.25 stars on Goodreads. I just loved it. Honestly, could almost give it a 4.5. I don't know why I gave it a 4.25 on Goodreads, so I may up it a little bit after I think on it some more, but for now, it is a 4.25 stars for me. On to the next book. So the next book that I read in the month of July is called 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. This was a book that I had to read for one of the book clubs that I'm in. It's definitely a mystery thriller. So if you're into mystery thrillers, let me just get into kind of the synopsis of this book. There are 9 different people who end up receiving this random list in the mail one day. No return to sender address, no context with the list of names, literally just 9 different names on a list, and all the people on that list receive this really weird, kind of cryptic letter. Basically, you go through the book and it's all different POVs, all in the points of view of the people on the list. If you're on that list, basically someone wants you dead. You go through the story kind of trying to figure out who is behind this list, who sent it, why are they on the list, how do all these people connect, what is correlating between all these people, and why and how did they end up on this random list, asking all the questions, trying to figure it out, being a detective, confusing your brain a whole bunch. It was a whole thing. This book was a ride. I will say that for sure. I just have very mixed emotions. I was so engrossed and like wrapped up in the story from the jump. I read through it so quickly, all the way up until the very, very end. I think like the second to last chapter, all the way up to like the second to last chapter, I was like locked in. I had to know what was happening. It kept me engaged the entire time. And I enjoyed the fact that I was just so locked in and I just wanted to know so badly who was behind it. But the way that everything was pulled together and wrapped up and kind of the reason why everyone was on the list, it just didn't like hit the way that I wanted to. I think the way that it ended just upset me more than anything. Like it made me a little bit, I don't know, it bummed me out and I just did not enjoy the ending of it at all. I can't say too much because I don't want to give anything away if you're interested in reading this book, but all in all, I would say I would recommend reading it if you want a really fast-paced mystery thriller. I would be really intrigued to know what your all's thoughts are on the end of this book. I just wasn't a huge fan of the very ending, but the rest of the book, I ate it up. I was flying. I was soaring, flying. My star rating, and the reason I give it this star rating is because I was so incredibly into the book pretty much all the way through. I gave it a 3 stars. I haven't really like wavered from that because I would recommend reading it if you want a fast-paced mystery thriller and one that is different from a lot of others that I've read at least. I didn't rate it higher because I did not enjoy how it ended. Also, with all the different points of view, it gets a little bit confusing. So that also lowered my rating a little bit, but I would not go lower than a 3 stars because it did keep me engaged the entire time. For how fast paced it was and the length of the book, I would say that the author did a really, really good job of getting all the details in that you needed for the plot, the storyline, all of that. So I gave 9 lives, 3 stars. The next book that I read is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I love the Inheritance Games series. You guys, it is just such a fun ride and I cannot wait to read the 4th book in this series, The Hawthorne Brothers. I want to say that is the very last book to complete the Inheritance Games series, but then I do know Jennifer Lynn Barnes also just released her first book in the Grandest Game series, which is, I believe, if it's not a follow through the Inheritance Game series, then it is a spin-off of the Inheritance Game series and it falls off of this book, The Final Gambit. So I'm very excited about that. Definitely go read the synopsis for that because I think it just released like a week or 2 ago. Yeah, so The Final Gambit, just such a fun ride. I love all of the riddles and games that you try to play along with the characters in the book. Out of the 3 so far, my favorite is still the second book in this series. I just loved that book so much. The 3rd book I also loved so much. I really enjoy how fast-paced the chapters are in all of her books. They just keep me really engaged. I feel like a lot of this book was kind of fluffed up and the fluff kind of clouded a lot of the fun parts of the book, if that makes sense. Once you get to a clue or a riddle or a game, anything like that, it was such a quick turnaround from the time that the character finds the clue or riddle to when they actually figure out the next step of it or like figuring out what the clue means, that kind of thing. It wasn't really the same in like the 1st and the 2nd books. Like, the clues and stuff were a little bit more drawn out and it took more time to solve, which I thought was really fun and it kept me really engaged. Whereas with this book, some parts of it were kind of confusing, like with the storyline. All in all, I would say I still really, really enjoyed this book. And I can't wait for the 4th book. I want to say that the 4th book is in 2 different points of view of 2 of the brothers in this series. So I ended up giving The Final Gambit 3.5 stars on Goodreads. I was not shocked that I loved it so much. And I did really like the wrap up at the end. I think that she summed up everything perfectly at the very end. Guys, just read the Inheritance Games if you want a really fun mystery riddles and games read. It was such a fun ride. And also you do get a little bit of romance thrown in there as well, but it's not anything too crazy. I love this book so much and it was a great read for my July. The next book that I read is Zodiac Academy Beyond the Veil. It is book 8.5, which is technically a novella in the Zodiac Academy series. Whew. Y'all, these books are so long for what? But they're also so good. So like, I can't complain. I love the detail in all of the Zodiac series. You gotta be ready for a Zodiac book for sure. They are so incredibly large. The font is so insanely small and the series is so long. So long. But I did hear by one of my very close friends that I've been reading the Zodiac Academy series with that you should definitely read 8.5 to kind of grasp what happens in book 9, which is the final book that released a couple months ago in the Zodiac Academy series. So I've not read book 9 yet. I'm really excited to, but I need my heart, for one, needs to be prepared. My mind definitely needs to be prepared. I'm terrified of that book. I don't know when I will be picking up that book. Hopefully soon. Really not sure though. Can't make any promises. I don't know if you guys have read the Zodiac series or not. I really don't have a whole lot to say on 8.5 because I don't want to give anything away. I don't even want to say names from the series because I don't want to give anything away to you guys if you're interested in reading. But the thing that I love so much about both of the authors writing, there's two authors. There's Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti, I think is how you say both of their names. I love the amount of detail and fluff that they put in their books. When you're in the mood for something like that and you're in the mood for a deep fantasy, the Zodiac Academy is your series, I will say. Along with that is the fact that the authors are ruthless and they don't care about your feelings most of the time. So be prepared, because if you attach or latch on to characters, they don't care to hurt your feelings. There is definitely a lot of spice in this series. So just an FYI, if you're not into that, then either like skip through some of those chapters, or it can get to be kind of a lot. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm skipping through this chapter. I did read most of it on my Kindle as well as listen to a lot of it through Audible. And I honestly really liked listening to 8.5 audibly. When I started the series, I physically read the first few books and then I kind of gradually moved over towards reading on my Kindle and listening and going back and forth. Kindle is great for these books in particular because they are so big and so heavy. So that was definitely like game changer, key to success for me for sure. I ended up giving it a 3 stars even for 8.5. I think it was a really great addition to the series. Can't say if it's super necessary or not because I haven't read book 9 yet. I would say though, just from the ending of this book in particular, that it's necessary enough to definitely read. And it's also really, really interesting because it's kind of from another side in a sense. I'm just really attached to a lot of the characters now in this series, and that's why I'm just terrified to read book 9 because I know how the authors are. I know what some of my close friends have said about book 9, so I'm gonna take my time before I pick up book 9 because I'm scared. Definitely a 3 stars, and I would recommend for sure reading 8.5. The next book that I read in July is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is the first official hockey romance that I have read ever. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm almost positive this is the very first hockey romance that I've read. And you know what, you guys? I was actually really surprised at how much I enjoyed this book. I wasn't sure what I was gonna think of it because I have heard it's like lots of spice. Take all the spice out, and I actually loved the storyline. I thought it was a really great, just like fluffy romance. It was really fun for me too, just because I'd never read a hockey romance before. So that was enough for me to give it a 3.5 stars. I was really, honestly, you guys, I was surprised. I was surprised and taken aback. Halfway through the book, because I just did not expect to like it as much as I did. I loved the main female character. I loved the main male character. It was just a really fun ride. I know that Wildfire, which is the second book technically in this world, the Maple Hills world, is that what it's called? The second book is called Wildfire, and I can't remember off the top of my head what characters from this book that one is about, but I have one in particular that I really, really hope that one is about. I need to like look that up, check that out. But this one was so much fun. Oh, my husband is home. Sorry, that's the garage opening. Okay. Basically, this book is about a girl named Anastasia who is currently working on her figure skating career. Something happens and it kind of like thwarts things with her potential for going to the Olympics with her figure skating career, all that jazz. She ends up meeting a guy named Nate who's on the hockey team. Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
What are you doing?
I'm doing my reading wrap up for July.
Okay.
Sorry about that. She ends up meeting a guy named Nate who is on the hockey team and is the hockey team captain for, what is it? University of Maple Hills? Oh, University of California, Maple Hills. That's a mouthful. So you kind of go on this journey between her trying to figure out what she's gonna do about her figure skating career, and then also Nate, you get his point of view as well, kind of going through what it's like being a hockey captain, and then both of them running into issues with their potential athletic careers. I don't want to say too much more than that. I don't want to give anything away, but it is such a good story and it was a really, really fun romance to read. So if you're into hockey romances or you want something a little spicy, a lot of spicy, then I would recommend reading Icebreaker for sure. I ended up giving Icebreaker a 3.5. I think I already said that. A 3.5 stars on Goodreads. I had a fun time reading this book. It was also the perfect time for me to read it as well. I really don't have a whole lot more to say other than probably don't listen to it audibly if you are going to be around other people a lot. This one was a really, really fun read. Pull out the Kindle one more time for the last book that I want to tell you guys about. Okay, and the very last book that I started in the month of July but I did not finish reading is called The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I actually love the cover of this book and I would love to have it physically. I think that was my main issue while I'm like on that topic of having it physically, is that I didn't finish it, one, because I started at the very end of the month and just never picked it up again. But I feel like it would have helped rather than like reading it on my Kindle or listening to it, because I also was listening to it a little bit and just was not locked in at all. I don't think I was in the mood for it, was like my main issue. I only got a few chapters in and decided to go ahead and soft DNF this one. I was not really in the mood for it. I think it is really a book that I would end up enjoying. This was another book that was pulled for one of my book clubs and I just didn't end up finishing it. But The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. Apparently there's going to be a second one coming out here soon. And a lot of the girls in my book club actually were super excited about it and really liked it once they finished the book. So that gives me hope and I feel like I will end up picking it up again at a later date. There was like a letter that was sent back and forth and I think it was like an accidental thing. I don't know. I was very confused and the book description didn't really match up with my expectation for the book, and I think that's what threw me off the most about it. So for right now, I'm not going to be picking this up probably anytime soon, but it is just a soft DNF. I'm not gonna like hardcore DNF it and just never pick it up again, because I do feel like I'd really like it after what some of the girls in my book club said about it. It made me really want to pick it up again at some point. So, all right. And that is pretty much it for all of the books in total that I read for the month of July. Not too shabby for also working a full-time job. I feel like they were all very different from one another, which made for a really fun reading month. But I do want to go ahead and get into the really fun aspect of this video. I'm so excited because I have hit 5K on YouTube and I'm so happy. So thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel, interacting with me on here. I love seeing all of your comments and likes and things like that on all of my videos. It means the absolute world to me, and I just am so excited and cannot believe that I have 5,000 subscribers now. It's like crazy. Dreams are coming true. It just makes me so happy. So thank you guys so much. And if you're not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe because I want to do fun giveaway for you guys just to say thank you so much for being along with me on this journey. So let's go ahead and lay out some of the official rules for the giveaway. I will have all of the official rules in the description box of this video as well, so you guys can refer to that and make sure you've got everything checked off. It's not anything too crazy, but if you would, please subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And then head over to my Instagram that I will have linked in the description box as well. And if you want, you can follow me on there as well. I would love if you guys gave me a follow there. Go ahead and send me your Amazon book wish list. I would love to go through your all's wish lists and pick a few of you guys to send a book to off of your Amazon book wish list. I think this is so much fun. I would love to be able to do that just to say thank you for being here and subscribing and sending you guys a fun book that you're interested in. I would love it if someone sent me a book off of my book wish list. I'm just saying. I'm totally kidding. Go ahead, go over there, send me a DM. I'm gonna do my absolute best to keep up with the DMs that come my way through there and make sure that I'm checking the hidden requests and all of that as well. Then I'll pick a few of you guys in the next week or two through like a random generator. Somehow I need to like Google how to do that exactly, but I'll have the generator pick from my messages who I will be sending a book to, as long as you've got that link for me in your DM on Instagram. Once you've sent me that link, then you can head back to this video and go ahead and let me know that you have completed that. You can literally just put done in your comment and that will suffice. That way I can kind of keep track of everyone that has entered the giveaway. So yeah, just make sure that you are subscribed as a bestie here on my channel. Go ahead and send me a message with your Amazon book wish list over on my Instagram. You can go ahead and follow me too. That would be super fun and awesome and great, and like that would be really great and fun, and you should do that. There will be a few other rules and regulations and all that jazz that I'll list out in the description below, just to make sure that we are on the right track with the YouTube guidelines and all of that fun stuff. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Again, it means the world to me, and it just makes me really excited and hopeful for the future. So let me say thank you by sending you a book off of your book wish list. I feel like this is going to be so much fun, and it's going to be really hard to let a generator pick for me, because if I could, I would send every single one of you a book off of your book wish list. Like, trust. Just trust. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you read any of these books. I'm very interested to know if you guys have and what your thoughts are. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.